Dawn breaks, the room is quiet, silence hangs in the air, and then your alarm completely shatters the stillness. In that single moment, before your brain floods with a million racing thoughts, and before the world starts making its endless demands on you, you are holding pure potential. But let's be real for a second. For so many of us, that moment instantly turns into the exact autopilot morning we absolutely dread. We roll over, we grab our phones, and we literally just let the chaos right in. Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We are walking through a battle-tested guide to mastering those critical first 30 minutes of your day. And we're going to do it using 10 distinct habits drawn straight from the ancient wisdom of Stoicism.
Think about the stark contrast in how we can wake up. On one hand, you have the autopilot morning. When you reach for that glowing screen before you even get out of bed, you are essentially handing your power away before you've even had breakfast. You're letting anxiety, comparison, and the chaos of everyone else's agenda flood your consciousness. But then, consider the alternative, the Stoic morning. You see, Stoicism cuts through all this modern noise with one razor-sharp truth. While you absolutely cannot control the world around you, you can completely master your response to it. And that mastery, it starts the exact second your eyes open. It begins with breath, intention, and control.
So here's our roadmap for today. We've organized our 10 powerful Stoic habits into 5 clear phases. 1. Waking up with purpose. 2. Mastering your own mind. 3. The power of immediate action. 4. Building unstoppable daily momentum. And 5. True discipline equals freedom. Let's get right into it.
Phase 1. Waking up with purpose. Claiming your 24 hours. Our very first habit is rooted in this incredibly powerful Latin phrase, memento mori, the remembrance of death. Now, I know that sounds incredibly heavy for first thing in the morning, but the Stoics didn't use this to make themselves sad or depressed. Not at all. They used it to wake themselves up. As Seneca famously pointed out, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste so much of it. The Stoics really believed that each day is a microcosm of your entire life. Think about it. If you treat today like it's endless, you're just going to waste it hitting the snooze button. But if you remember that this singular, completely unrepeatable morning is never ever coming back, wow, that sparks a fierce appreciation to make it count.
And that naturally builds right into our second core habit, leaving yesterday behind. You cannot change the past, not one single second of it. Yet so many of us carry yesterday's mistakes into today like this giant heavy backpack. There is a massive difference between learning and dwelling. Learning looks at the past and says, okay, I see what I did wrong there and I'll do better. It propels you forward. Dwelling, on the other hand, just says, I'm terrible and I'll never change. It keeps you totally stuck. Epictetus taught us that we disturb ourselves by our own judgments. So when you wake up, by all means, reflect, learn, but flat out refuse to let yesterday control your fresh new 24 hours.
So the big takeaway for this first phase is super simple. Today is yours. Make it count. And actively choose to leave yesterday behind. When your alarm goes off tomorrow morning, don't just roll over. Sit up, take a deep breath, drop that heavy backpack of the past, and declare absolute ownership of your day.
All right, moving perfectly into phase 2, mastering your own mind, the battle between the ears.
Because once you're awake, the real fight starts, right? Marcus Aurelius realized that the happiness of your life depends entirely on the quality of your thoughts. And to master those thoughts, the Stoics used our third habit, which is a brilliant tool called premeditatio malorum, essentially anticipating challenges. Now listen, this is not about giving in to toxic negativity or just sitting around dwelling in anxiety. We often suffer way more in our imagination than in reality anyway. Instead, this practice is about imagining the worst scenarios strictly to build your resilience. Marcus Aurelius would literally wake up and remind himself that he was probably going to meet ungrateful or arrogant people that day. He wasn't being a pessimist. He was setting a strong mental direction. He was preparing his mind so that absolutely nothing could catch him off guard or ruin his inner peace.
And you can put this into practice right away by adopting our fourth habit, which is a really simple 3-step morning mind ritual. First, sit quietly. Second, breathe and ground yourself. And third, remind yourself of what truly matters. When you first wake up, your mind is super vulnerable. It's fuzzy, it's half asleep. And you know what? That is exactly when fear, doubt, and anxiety try to sneak right in and hijack your entire day. By using this little ritual, you grab the reins of your mind before the world even has a chance to throw you off course. It's not just meditation, guys. It's mental armor.
To wrap up this second phase, let's talk about habit number 5, the discipline of assent. Remember, your thoughts are actively shaping your day, so you've got to control your mind first. You need to intentionally choose which thoughts to accept and which to reject.
You really don't have to entertain every single anxious whisper that pops into your head. Question them, challenge them, throw them out if they don't serve you.
Now, once your mind is set, it is time to move. Welcome to Phase 3, the power of immediate action, curing the fragmented mind.
This next insight from Marcus Aurelius introduces our sixth habit, single-minded focus. And honestly, it's an absolute game changer. He said, concentrate every minute, like a Roman, on doing what's in front of you, with precise and genuine seriousness. We so often get this completely backward. We think we need energy in order to find focus, but this brilliantly illustrates that single-minded focus actually creates energy. Think about it. When you're multitasking, jumping between 10 different browser tabs and a dozen different thoughts, you are literally leaking energy. You feel totally drained. But when you pour your full, unfragmented attention into just a single task right in front of you, you feel alive, you feel powerful.
Which brings us right to habit number 7, immediate action. Act now, don't wait. And remember that focus gives you energy. Procrastination is always going to whisper that you can just do it later, but perfect conditions, they never arrive. Action is the ultimate antidote to anxiety. Even if the action isn't flawless, movement creates clarity. And taking immediate action builds this unstoppable trust in yourself.
And that momentum is exactly what our fourth phase is all about, building unstoppable daily momentum, the physics of your day.
The physics of your day operate on a super simple rule. An object in motion stays in motion. Consider how small, consistent morning wins compound over time. This is habit number 8, building consistent momentum. Look at it like this. At 6 a.m., you wake up without hitting snooze. That's a win. 6:05 a.m., you make your bed. Boom, another win. 6:15 a.m., you focus deeply on one task without checking your phone. That is an absolutely massive win. The Stoics knew that greatness isn't built in one explosive movie montage moment. It's built in 1,000 small, consistent actions that no one else even sees. These little steps give you solid proof that you are capable, and that proof builds a really quiet, unshakable confidence. So the crucial point for building this momentum is to start strong, but more importantly, finish stronger. A lot of people start their morning with a massive burst of fire, but then they just fizzle out by noon, and that is such a waste of potential. True Stoic virtue actually demands endurance. It's all about seeing things through, keeping those promises you made to yourself, and letting those tiny daily wins grow into a truly monumental life.
Which brings us to our fifth and final phase, true discipline equals freedom, becoming the author.
This is where we completely redefine discipline, which is our ninth habit. We usually think of discipline as this horrible cage, right? Like a set of strict rules that stop us from having any fun. But Epictetus, a philosopher who, by the way, was literally born a slave, wrote this incredibly profound truth. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Wow, if you lack discipline, you're actually a slave. You're a slave to your impulses, a slave to your phone notifications, a slave to your fleeting moods. Discipline eliminates all that mental clutter. It is the ultimate tool that sets you totally free to move through your day with absolute peace.
And that brings us to our 10th and final habit, deliberately deciding your day. The harsh but beautiful reality we all have to face is this. No one is coming to save your morning. No one else is going to make it meaningful for you. Discipline brings freedom, and ultimately, you decide your day. You wake up every single morning to a completely blank page, and you are the one holding the pen. Sure, you can't control the traffic or the weather or your boss, but you always control how you respond.
When you adopt these 10 Stoic habits, you undergo a massive fundamental shift. Think about it. Your mindset moves away from passive reaction and straight into powerful intention. Your motion in life shifts from just aimlessly drifting to purposefully directing where you're going. And most importantly, your identity transforms. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances, and you step up to become the author of your own reality. This really isn't just about having a slightly better morning routine. It's about completely changing how you operate in the world.
So I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on today. Am I using my time today, or is my time using me? Tomorrow morning, that alarm is going to ring again. The silence will break, and you will have a choice. Are you going to surrender to the autopilot chaos, or will you step up, seize those first 60 minutes, and put these battle-tested Stoic principles to work? The 24 hours are yours. Let's make them count.